ACC Network basketball presented by Ally as we gear things up at the Castle Coliseum in Blacksburg for a first-time clash between the Virginia Tech Hokies and the Stanford Cardinal. They're making their final regular season road trip and looking to build on their back-to-back wins that they just picked up on their home floor. 3 games apiece left on the schedule for both teams. The focus becomes seeding in the ACC tournament and beyond. For Virginia Tech, they have at this point a first-round bye. The first 4 have the double bye. To make it to Greensboro, you have to be a part of that top 15. Stanford still in the hunt to make sure that they can stamp their ticket back across the country to make sure they're a part of their first ACC tournament. We welcome you courtside. I'm Angel Gray alongside Christy Winter-Scott. And as we mentioned, this is the first time that these two teams are meeting. Yes. So there's a lot on the line, of course. But what are some things that you are excited to see about this matchup?
Well, first of all, you're a human being, so you're going to maybe look ahead to the tournament, but you can't do that. You have to be where your feet are, stay locked in, be focused on this moment. It's going to come down to rebounding, three-point shot defense, and pace of play. And we'll see what happens after that. It's going to be a fun one.
Spoken like a true coach, but we'll get into what we're going to see on the floor, starting with Karis Baker, who has been phenomenal in the last 7 games.
Well, she's not just a big shot maker. She's a big shot baker. She has been cooking. She has been roasting. The last 6 games, shooting 54% from the floor. She has been most effective, especially in the open court. They find her early and often in transition, especially from range.
And how about the 5'9" sophomore, Chloe Clardy, has been lights out, especially as a floor general for the Cardinal.
Well, she has been the conductor in the open floor as well as in quarter court. She is the connector of dots, if you will. 12 assists in the last game, 0 turnovers to go along with her 14 points. Don't get it twisted. She can score the ball as well.
Absolutely. She has done a great job at that, just averaging under 10 points for her squad this season. Has put up huge numbers as we get things going. Our officials, Rod Creech, Miguel Murray, and Lauren Nimera. The officials for today, and starting off with the Rock is Stanford in their black jerseys with the Cardinal trim, and the Hokies in their gray home uniforms.
And Virginia Tech in their man-to-man defense, they can switch 1 to 4, trying to stay steady on this possession though.
And right away, Brooke Dimitri, who is coming off a 21-point game, puts them on the board first.
Well, she has such a tough touch in that mid-range. Doesn't take much. You can put it on the deck, rise and fire, so you have to stay steady defensively.
Absolutely. From Matilda X, she responds with a bucket of her own.
Well, I love X. Game 6-2. She can knock it down from 3 as well. 14 of 22 in the last 4 games from range.
Has 3+ threes in the last 4 games as well. She has been remarkable to stretch the floor as Stanford gets the ball back. 10 on the shot clock. Off the bounce, Alana Bozgana.
A really good gap defense there by Eck. Defensively by Stanford, they're going to mix it up a little bit. It looks like they're playing kind of a matchup zone, trying to stay connected on that high ball screen now.
Off the take, Carly Winsel got denied at the rim. They'll get it back underneath with 12 on the shot clock.
So we were at the shoot-arounds today, and they were working on their execution on out-of-bounds under, and they ran out of time. And that's the thing about this juncture of the season. There's been a lot of games played and a lot of plays to sniff out. They took away the first, second, and third options there defensively, disallowing an entry pass from underneath.
Spent a significant amount of time on the defensive end, just trying to find ways to disrupt, to counter anything that you're going to see from the Hokies, who have been really good in the ACC, 5th in scoring, 2nd in field goal percentage.
But what you're going to do is you're going to get picked apart at this point in the season. So you have to find counters, and you have to find a way to break a play to make a play.
Off the bounce again, Brooke Dimitri couldn't find the bottom of the net there, and here comes Carly Winsel coming off of a 9-point game against UNC. A tough loss for Virginia Tech, as Megan Duffy mentioned that to her squad that were in it within the fourth quarter and has challenged her team to understand, as they've had some time off in that bye, to think about why they were in the game in the first place, to bring that same sense of urgency.
Yeah, she was very adamant today at shoot around, and she said, you know, what we're not going to do is have what happened in that fourth quarter against North Carolina.
And there is Megan Duffy in her first season with Virginia Tech. Spent 5 seasons at Marquette. And postseason is where she has thrived. Has been a part of it outside of 1 year where no one was involved, and that was due to COVID.
Right. Looking for the 5th consecutive trip to the NCAA tournament here at Virginia Tech. It's her first season at the helm for the Hokies. And her mom made the trip here today. I saw her in the hallway, Angel, and she said, I drove here from Dayton. It was a little snowy, but I made it. And she said that Megan always has loved basketball so much. And I told her she must be proud and to have fun watching her daughter march the sidelines here. She said she would, so it was very sweet.
You are like a magnet. Everyone, you just find everyone on any trip that you have in the gym. As another bucket goes down, this one going to Chloe Clardy.
And that's what Chloe Clardy can do. We were talking about her ability to make plays and set the table for the team, but she can also get downhill and finish in traffic on that second line of defense as well.
When you say downhill, she does that very well, but Matilda, with another bucket, she's sitting at 2 field goals on the game.
She's from Sweden. She has 3-level scoring ability, but we talked about her prowess from range, but you know, she can get those 1-2 dribble middies going as well and staying rhythmic with it.
That's denied out of bounds as Brooke Dimitri, and her length at 6'3", is able to deflect that out of bounds. And as of note, Nunu Aguera also out of this game for Stanford. They were hopeful that she would be able to return. Right. She didn't travel with the team. 5 minutes into that Notre Dame game, took a hard fall. During that 10-day break, they were able to see her back for 7 minutes against BC, but has not been herself, so hopeful to see her back, and we're told is day to day.
Yeah, health is the main thing. I mean, basketball is what you do, it's not who you are per se, so you've got to take care of your body and your health and make sure you're 100% so that you can give 100%.
And then also, as the time is winding down, off the mark, and say back in bounds towards the Hokies with Nunu out, their leading scorer, rebounder, and shot blocker. That means there's a lot of room for everyone else to step up. The pull-up, no good for Lonnie White.
Yeah, it's got to be a unified attack. And when you have someone missing like that, especially on the interior, your rim protector, your last line of defense, everyone else has to be that much more well-connected.
One too many steps on the Stanford side. Courtney Ogden.
And for your Hokies, number
Second
3,
turnover for Stanford. And speaking of first-time head coaches, Kate Pay.
Yeah, how about that?
Returning as for her alma mater.
Yeah.
Being a part of a program where she saw 2 of the 3 titles that they have within their program, but her staff that she's been able to build around her as well. Mention that this has been very tough for them, the youth, the changing of the conferences, what this has been like for her. Losing has not been something that has been attached to Stanford.
No, not at all. I mean, they're 13-12 right now, 5-9 in the ACC, just trying to find their traction. They've lost some really close games, some overtime contests, but they're so young. And that's not an excuse, that's just a fact. So you have to deal with that, you have to go through it to get to it. And it is frustrating sometimes, but that's like when babies are learning to walk, they fall down, but they don't stay down. They get up and keep stepping. So that's what Stanford has been doing this season.
Stanford looking for another field goal. Started off pretty efficient from the field. They're 1-5 since their first bucket.
Her first personal foul.
As we have a substitution.
Checking in for your Hokies, number 34.
So Karis Baker will take a seat after picking up the foul there. Virginia Tech up 9-4. As we're approaching the halfway point of the first quarter, off the deck, found the lane and couldn't connect on the layup. Tess Hill probably wanted that one back, opened up a little bit more than she thought.
Yeah, and without Nunu in there, I mean, no second chance opportunities for Stanford. Virginia Tech doing a really good job on the glass.
But they do get the steal there. All the way. Ogden at the rim just rolls off. Stevenson able to get the rebound. Kicks it out. And Tess Hill couldn't connect. And as you mentioned, just trying to find their rhythm in the last few possessions.
No, I love Courtney Ogden. I mean, she's a freshman trying to find her way, but the last 3 weeks, Kate Pace said, you know, she's playing really good basketball, just wants her to stay confident. That's what freshmen do, right? They kind of overthink sometimes, but she's playing good defense. She just got another deflection down here for the Cardinals.
So they're doing their job on the defensive end. Now if they can string together the offensive side, they've missed their last 5 before that one goes down for Dimitri.
Oh, that was a deep water triple right there. She was at least 3 feet behind the line, so you better size her up as soon as she crosses half court and try to disrupt her shot pocket. That was too easy. She just walked into that one.
As we mentioned, coming off that 21 points against Boston College, has been in double figures the last 2 games. And the quick response from Rose Mishaw.
I love Rose Mishaw's game. I mean, she is just a ball of energy. Watched her at practice today and in warm-ups. And she's the most talkative, trying to keep everyone well connected.
Rose Mishaw didn't play against Syracuse and Virginia, returned last game. So excited to see her back on the floor for the Hokies as we are just underway here in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech with the advantage. Being on the road and heading across the country as they have been doing that in the new ACC format. 21,000 plus miles they have traveled this season. And the thing that really gets me is if they go back and make it to the ACC tournament, it is said that they would have traveled the distance of the globe, going around the globe.
They got a lot of homework done on the plane.
But as they're doing that, though, they have struggled on the road. At this point, they are 1-8 on the road. 1-9 if you're including the neutral site as well. This is something where Kate Pay has mentioned they have to find ways to string games together, and they feel like this is a favorable stretch for them. They go down to Virginia after this one on Sunday.
Yeah, only 64 points in their losses on the road, and that's been tough. You know, they haven't been able to manufacture the offensive rhythm. 79 points at home, so that's a big differential, and they're just going to have to not worry about where they are, right? They just have to worry about who they're with, and I think that is going to be the key component to their success. And it can't become the pink elephant in the room, like, oh my gosh, we're going on the road. We haven't been successful on the road, and it becomes a thing. You know, as a human, you just overthink that, right? But you have to, hey, what do we need to get done? We need to star in our role and get the job done.
Putting all things together as well. We were told that Mary Ashley Stevenson was actually in a Zoom class as she was getting off the bus, going into the hotel, also at meals. So just finding ways to stay in tune with things academically as well, as Stanford is an elite.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, there's always a way with technology to get that part of being a student athlete completed. And you know, all those frequent flyer miles you were talking about. I mean, the professors know, right?
Absolutely.
So stay connected and communicative and get their homework done.
The take by Wenzel wanted the foul. Nothing there. It will go back to Stanford.
And that was just a tough take. I mean, the offense wasn't quite spaced well on that possession. And this is a Virginia Tech team that scores 59% of their offense off of assist. And Megan Duffy was very adamant in saying, you know, we don't have a lot of players that can break you down one-on-one. So we have to utilize the skill set of one another.
So the backcourt will give it back to Virginia Tech. You were mentioning the assist. They had 26 against Virginia. She mentioned what that looks like. I love the question that you had to her too. As a coach, what does it feel like knowing that your team has that balance?
Yeah, because as a coach, It was hard for me to I was like, how does that feel? Because they had 26 assists on 31 made shots. That's insanely efficient. So I just was wondering about that.
Another block by Dimitri. That's her third of the ball game. You mentioned who's going to step up in the absence of Nunu. Well, Dimitri has been phenomenal to start this game.
On both sides. And they need those block shots down in the trenches, down in the paint. But they also need for her to get some offensive production going as well.
Matilda Eck with 6 points can get going very quickly.
And she's 6'2", and she just has such a quick release and a high release point on her shot. Tough to get to if you're late. You can't be a beat late with coverage on her.
Big bucket for Virginia Tech. They missed their prior 5, as both teams have seen a bit of a scoring drought on both sides. And another bucket goes down for Stanford after about a 2-minute drought. Final minute of the first quarter.
Let's see what they can manufacture here. Trying to get some good screens and some rub screens for a triple.
As we mentioned, Matilda Eck, you can put us on repeat. 9 points in the first quarter.
She's on a heater. Listen, that was great action and activity on the offensive end to free her up on that little mini pin down, and the slot extended there.
Clardy sends it to the corner. Stanford known to knock down a triple in the corner and couldn't connect on that one to close out the first frame.
Matilda Eck.
We welcome you back into the castle for Virginia Tech and Stanford, their first matchup in program history, as Matilda Eck said, welcome to the series. She has been phenomenal. 9 of their first quarter, 11 points.
Yeah, give her the ball and get out of the way. That's the mode and I want to see what Stanford does to disrupt her defensively. Are they going to show her a different body? Are they going to try to blitz her off the pick and rolls? They're kind of letting her go free and easy right now.
Excuse me, 9 of their 16 first quarter points as Stanford.
It just seems like Stanford they're taking a lot of time to get into their actions. That one was nice.
And it seems like they're getting the looks that they want. We've seen the penetration. We've seen them really execute the things that we saw in shoot-around. It just comes down to now them spraying out to make.
Absolutely. You got to knock them in, but at the same time, I like that pick and roll. That slip was there. You just got to pay it off. They got the steal, but they didn't score, right? Earlier in that first quarter. So they just have to complete the proper reads.
What a beautiful read for Lonnie White on the curl to the basket.
Oh, just a soft float game right there in front of the rim. And defensively, again, you just can't be late. And you can't gamble and overhelp.
Biggest lead for Virginia Tech at 7.
Virginia Tech likes to get into early action in the quarter court, trying to ISO inside. They love the 4-out, 1-in look.
Just short for Rose Mishaw. You mentioned working her way back into the rotation.
Seemed like she didn't have her legs stabilized underneath for that power that she needed.
Stevenson couldn't find the power within her legs to knock that one down.
Good job by Stanford to get back. Virginia Tech, they want to push tempo. 7 rebounds already out of the gates for Mishaw, and those are possessions. And she's done a tremendous job of getting her body in there.
It's the activity that we're seeing from Rose Mishaw and the foul on the other side for the Cardinal. Rose Mishaw averages just under 8 rebounds a game, and she's already at 7.
Yeah. That's a great motor, and that's something you don't have to coach, right? So let her go out there and compete. She's doing that exceptionally well.
So Vazgana will take a seat, picking up her second foul of the ball game, as that one just rims out for Karis Baker. Well, number 1 Notre Dame highlights our final Thursday night women's basketball doubleheader of the regular season. Next week, Clemson and Louisville tip off the night at 6 Eastern. Then Hannah Hidalgo and the top-ranked Irish host Florida State in South Bend. Should be another great night of hoops on the ACC network. as Stanford trying to find some type of rhythm on the offensive end. Can't connect on another one and miss now 12 of their last 15.
Well, I love the aggression by Ogden. There was no hesitation on the decision to take that particular shot, and I think that was the right shot to take there.
And then Dimitri will pick up the foul here as Rose Michaud will step up to the free throw line for 2.
And again, a motor on the glass, and that's what you want to see. Win the possession battle. That's why we said at the open, you're going to have to win the battle on the glass. And there's the foul right there. Michaud staying connected with her body. And right there you saw on the arm Dimitri tagging her in the upward shooting motion.
Just her first foul of the ball game, but it will send her to the bench. As that first one goes down for Rose Michaud.
Lefty, a nice soft touch there at the line.
Transfer from Minnesota, spent 2 seasons there and has done a phenomenal job with her field goal percentage. Led the ACC in that department for some time.
Yeah, I mean, she's getting a lot of second chance opportunities right there at the cup and paying them off.
Up top, Tess Hill couldn't connect, so now for Stanford, they have really struggled from outside, just shooting 14% from distance, and another foul will go against the Cardinal as 3 consecutive trips down the floor for Virginia Tech will send them to the free throw line.
Yeah, that's the proper call. I mean, you're driving hard, putting pressure on that second line, a little cross match down in there, and definitely not walled up, definitely not established as a legal guarding defender on that play. You've got to beat her to where she wants to go. And it's so difficult to do that, right? You want to run to the body because, well, they have the ball, so it's hair on fire, I got to get to them. No, where are they going? You got to beat them to the spot and get vertical and get your position established.
Second one goes down for Carly Winsel as Kennedy Ume charged that last foul. Stanford gets the ball back, still searching for their first points of this quarter. As Virginia Tech has a 7-point jump on them in this frame.
They just need to take their time and set and use good screens. They're running the sets, but are they connecting hard on those screens?
Here's a connection that they needed at the rim. So Stanford now on the board here in the second quarter.
Clardy has been most effective 4-5 right now from the floor, and a lot of those have come from actions like that. Just straight line drives to the rack and finishing the play.
Virginia Tech shooting 41% from the field at this point, in and out for the triple. And that will go back to Virginia Tech and that pressure that we've seen occasionally throughout the season.
Yeah, you just see that frustration by Courtney Ogden there. You just have to have the eyes of the catcher before you let that ball out of your hands. It's not a yo-yo, you can't pull it back. There's no string. I know you wish it was. I know I did it several times, but you gotta have the eyes of the catcher.
5th turnover for Stanford. And Virginia Tech gives it right back, trying to pass over the length of Stanford on the inside. And a lot of movement on the interior for Kennedy Ume, trying to battle it out on the inside. Kale Peterson picks up her first foul.
See, back in the day, we would still be battling it out down there. Arms and legs everywhere. But now you can't do that. It's freedom of movement. You can't displace or reroute cutters, and both things happen on that particular possession defensively.
A couple of substitutions for Virginia Tech. Matilda Eck and Rose Michaud check back in. So quick blow for Matilda Eck, as we mentioned, that had the 9 first quarter points. And Michaud with 7 rebounds already, 8 now in this ball game. Still a battle in the paint.
Yeah, Courtney Ogden was kind of waiting for her to see if she could square up.
And short shot clock as Ogden knocks that one down, and that's something that the Cardinal want to do. The last 2 games, they've shot in double figures as far as triples.
Yeah, Courtney Ogden had the wobble song on that one. Step back.
Another turnover. This one coming from the front court player as Kennedy Ume showing some of that point forward.
Yeah, hey, You're in the open floor, straight angle to the cup. One way. And that's with some force. Courtney, oh, here's the last possession right there. Yeah, again, you can't go straight to the body of the player with the basketball. You got to sprint beyond and turn him back to the corner. And it's easier said than done. Trust and believe me, I get it. But you just have to look like that's your attempt. Like your attempt can't be straight into the shoulder of the offensive player.
2 misses at the free throw line is not normal for Stanford, especially after seeing their performance against Pitt where they were perfect, 15 for 15. Mishaw screaming on the interior for the ball, and that's coughed up. What a great effort by Ume.
Ume nice and loose on that baseline side, releasing when that pass was on its way in.
9 turnovers for Virginia Tech as Ume has been all over the glass. Couldn't connect on that layup and is signaling towards the bench, might be coming in for a substitution.
Look at Courtney Ogden rejecting the screen and then rejecting the defender too. Heck, he's put on some ice. It's a little icy outside. It was a little ice patch inside on that one.
That was a little slippery. Oof. I will say that was,
yeah.
The skates were definitely out, the ice skates.
Oh, pirouette on that. Look at this defense here. Stanford doing a good job staying with their primary matches so far.
6 on the shot clock for the Hokies.
Now
looking for help, Winslow looking around, still 1 second left, and that'll be a shot clock violation as Kate Pay was actually telling her team to go and run with it. But that'll bring us to our break here in the second quarter, and Stanford playing with some momentum after some big buckets and stops.
Fans, please welcome to the court your Virginia Tech Podcast.
And we welcome you back to the castle right now. Virginia Tech with the advantage 23-16, and Rose Mishaw has been everywhere. Yes, getting a couple rebounds, but also has been the utility player in a lot of ways.
Now Rose is a Rose, and this Rose has been setting some solid screens to free up some offensive activity for Virginia Tech. I mean, those screen assists, those are invaluable. We were talking about the passing assist, but how about the screen assist? Rose Mishaw has been doing that.
And a foul at this end as Stanford has really shown the sense of urgency to put pressure on the back line for Virginia Tech.
Have to, right? You're missing your outside shots, and now what do you do to fix that? You get into the paint, right? And figure out how Virginia Tech is going to guard that, and right now, they've been a little tardy.
Virginia Tech in this quarter has 3 field goal attempts and they have 6 turnovers.
And that just can't happen, right? You have to take care of the basketball, and that's easier said than done. It's easy just to spew out that sentence, hey, take care of the ball. Well, how do you do that? You have to be composed. You have to set and use good screens, and you have to have solid spacing in the quarter court. It's not as easy as take care of the ball. Like, you have to explain, like, exactly what that is, what that means, and do it with poise.
And another turnover, so a shift just because of the illegal screen on the other side that we just credited her for doing such a phenomenal job in the first quarter.
Well, your teammates have to wait for the screen, right? And that time, there was no patience coming off the screen. And now Rose Mishaw has to go out with those fouls, 2 of them, that she's been tagged with now. I remember I fouled out setting a screen because my teammate didn't wait.
Not you.
Yeah.
I don't even believe it.
Freshman
I don't
year.
believe it.
Didn't happen after that.
I blame the guard.
I want to play.
I blame the guard.
I want to stay on the floor, so you got to wait for me, man. I'm trying to get there as fast as I can, but you got to wait.
Less than 4 minutes here in the first half. Beautiful spin move by Ogden.
Yeah, there she is. I had a chance to coach her in the Elite 24 a couple of seasons in the summer. Those little showcase events there, and she was magnificent, and she has really matured as this season has gone along.
Sophomore has definitely done that. The dish on the inside and the miss at the rim. Maya White will stay with Virginia Tech.
Well, another screen right there. Ogden utilizes it very well. Spin moves away from Elk at the end of it. A little hesitation, deceleration got her where she wanted to be.
Virginia Tech shooting 37% from the field at this point. At one section of this game, they were shooting close to 50. And now Stanford has turned it up on the defensive end. 5 on the shot clock, off the glass and rims it in. As Karis Baker enters the chat.
Yeah, well, you love to see it. Her mom, Maura Rogers, and her dad, Vin Baker. Oh, there's a foul there. I'll let you call that, and I'll continue.
Yes, it is a foul.
Second personal foul.
Second personal against Dimitri.
Checking in for Stanford.
So the screens have become an issue for the front court on both sides.
Well, you have to be set at the point of contact when those screens are connecting. And both posts on both teams on the respective squads, they're struggling with that right now after a strong start, especially for Virginia Tech in that regard.
Virginia Tech is in the bonus. We've had a low-scoring second quarter. Virginia Tech 9-8 over Stanford. Eck on the dime, pulls up, knocks it down.
Yeah, that was just super tough. Great body control on that one, going 100 miles an hour and then stopping, like you said, on a dime right there in the paint.
11 points for Matilda Eck, has not missed in this game. You hate to say things like that, you don't want to jinx it, but has really found a way to be very solid here today for Virginia Tech. Well, taking a look at Saturday's men's basketball tripleheader here on the ACC Network. Georgia Tech and BC start the day at 2 Eastern, followed by Chase Hunter and number 18 Clemson and Dallas taking on SMU. And Virginia Tech and Miami caps the day. So always fun matchups to make sure all of your devices are charged up.
No, that's right.
As Joe Lenardi handling things as far as the bracketology on the men's side, and Wake Forest, you keep an eye out on that, and SMU, the first 4 out. So a lot of big games coming up for both sides as Lonnie White knocks down the triple from outside, giving Virginia Tech some life on the offensive end.
And talking to her buddies on the bench, giving them some life as they're giving it right back to her. Oh my goodness, 52% on the season for White from 3.
A block called. And as you can see, the fans are not too thrilled about that ruling.
Let's take a look at that last defensive sequence and see why this was called a block. Oh, there was some leverage there, and the only thing I can say is that left leg wasn't completely squared when Ogden lowered the book.
So Stanford has struggled from the free throw line today, just shooting under now 42% from the free throw line, 3 for 7.
For the weak side pin down, or just an exchange for Virginia Tech. I would like for that to be a pin down though, and then curl off of that. Lonnie White, this triple, oh my goodness, you can't give her that much space. She's gonna drop it in your face. That's just, she's like, hey, you gotta check me. That's disrespectful, that's too much space for me to lift it.
She is a walking bucket,
Man.
3 20-plus point games this season.
52% from 3 is just remarkable, I mean, and we're deep into the season.
5 on the shot clock for Stanford. Still looking for something on the inside. They finally get it there, and the bucket comes at the buzzer.
And it got tipped. It was deflected, and it just bounced right where it needed to be for Stanford.
Kennedy Ume now with 4 points. In the final minute in this first half, it's gone back and forth, but Matilda Eck has her name all over this ball game to start.
Really pretty triangle action there by Virginia Tech. Just executed that to perfection. Slipped Eck right off of that one and got her to the second side.
Eck, the only player in double figures. She has 13, still perfect from the field, 6 for 6.
Trying to get the high ball screen action here late in the shot clock.
Once again, late in the shot clock, tried to dish it underneath and ran out of real estate, so another turnover, which would be the 7th for Stanford.
Well, look at this, little pin down and then a tight curl. And then had to reverse it. That's the only way because Ogden was right there to contest. That was a sweet move. But I love that triangle action and how tight Eck came off of that pin down screen.
Matilda Eck is 6 for 6 from the field. The rest of the team is 5 for 17. You think maybe she needs a touch every time down the floor?
Yeah, I would. Until they try to blitz her or do something different to be disruptive to her rhythm.
Final seconds in the first half. Eck, with 3 seconds left, dishes it out off the back iron, and that will be the horn for the first half. And what a game that we have gone back and forth, but Virginia's Tech still with the 10-point edge.
They have been fantastic. Connection of the dots with the assist numbers, the big boards, the big screens as well.
Virginia Tech up 32-25 here at half. We'll send it to the ACC Network studio. Justin taking over, and we'll send it with the rest of the crew. We welcome you to ACC Network Basketball presented by Ally. We're at the Castle for Virginia Tech and Stanford at halftime. Virginia Tech with a 32-25 edge over the Cardinal. And before we get things started for the third quarter, we'll try and explain what we just saw there. I think it's 2 horses. We're not too sure. But we thank you for joining us here at courtside. I'm Angel Gray alongside Chrissy Winter-Scott. And we were just talking about the flow for both teams, really trying to find their footing. Both teams shot very well to close the half, but for Stanford, them trying to find something good going, and really starts with Chloe Clardy.
Yeah.
You said she had to be the floor general, just 1 assist right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's 4 of 5 from the floor. The rest of the team, 6 of 21 from the floor. Somebody's got to do it, and she's doing it. So the 1 assist isn't indicative of her being a force on the offensive end. She's made great passes, but her teammates haven't paid off those good passes.
Yep, only 3 assists for Stanford on the other side. Virginia Tech, they've turned the ball over quite a bit, but Matilda Eck, when she has the rock, she makes magic happen.
Well, she's in full command. She has made the proper read, whether she's disrupted on the catch or not. She's going to make a play, and she's been making shots for the team in the interior, and I think that's what they need more of in the second half.
How about this stat? Rose Bishaw with 9 rebounds at half. She ties Stanford for their total in the first half.
Now, I'm sure that had a big red circle on it in the locker room for Stanford. How does one player have as many rebounds as we have for the entire first half as a team? I want to see what changes because of it. It's one thing to say it and make your players aware of it. Now, what are you going to do about it? Now, are you going to put a body on somebody, or are you going to disallow the second chance opportunities? Let's see what that looks like here in the second half.
We get 10 minutes here to start the third quarter off. And out of the gate. The back door underneath, just off the mark for the layup. But Shane was able to get the rebound and lost it, trying to cough it back up.
And again, a really good set there by Stanford. That elbow screen, that back screen, sending the guard underneath. Just couldn't make the shot, and that's something they just can't continue to do.
Matilda Eck putting on some footwork, couldn't finish. Rose Bishaw, her 10th rebound and a bucket.
Listen, she has been just dominating inside the painted area right there. Just willed herself to the basketball to complete that play. And that second chance opportunity inside.
Mary Ashley Stevenson, a nice slip to the bucket. You mentioned sharing the ball. That was pinpoint.
Clardy right there, right? She's going to get you the ball, but what are you going to do with it when you catch it? I mean, that was a great read. That great pocket pass to that weak side for the finish. Can they stack plays like that?
Just the first field goal for Mary Ashley Stevenson to transfer from Purdue. for Stanford and a foul on the other end.
Let's take a look at this last sequence offensively for Stanford. Just right to the hands inside. Look at that little flip of the wrist on the pass, on that slip cut, on that weak side lane line. And that's what Stanford needs. You know, space the floor, get the two-man game in the middle third, and make a play.
What they did not need is Brooke Dimitri picking up her third foul, which is going to send her back to the bench. Kennedy Ume will check in as Carly Wenzel at the free throw line.
Ume did a good job there in that second quarter to draw Stanford a little closer because of her rebounding prowess. Maybe that's why she got the nod to come in and try to manufacture some possessions on the inside.
She has been battling underneath. If anything, she is definitely drawing a lot of attention towards the rim. Rose Mishaw up and under to the left and just off the mark on the other side.
Oh, I like it though. That was great activity and the proper read by her on that one to get underneath.
Hardy actually wanted the foul there. It was tipped instead. But they will say it stays with Stanford.
They're saying it got deflected. So it stays underneath here. And here's the play. Clardy. Yeah, you can definitely see the trajectory change on the basketball.
18 on the shot clock. They get it into the corner, send it back to the top of the key for Shea.
And see that read right there, staying connected defensively for Virginia Tech.
So another good look for Kennedy Ume. It's almost like the settling. You get the ball, you understand where you are on the floor. These are makes that we've seen Stanford throughout this season knock down.
Yeah, Wenzel made a great play that time, staying connected over top, and we saw Megan Duffy explaining that exact thing at practice today, and it was executed perfectly, and it was very disruptive for Stanford.
Carly Wenzel almost got a hand on it. Instead, Heel able to secure it back. More action from this side for Stanford. Not a lot of time to work with. 4 on the shot clock. Clardy pulls up another deflection. That one coming from Lonnie Wright, and a shot clock violation for the Hokies.
Really good defense by Virginia Tech. Look at Wenzel right there, fighting to get over top, but then that second line of defense is right there, and now you're in a crowded space, and that's what defense is. Take up the space that your opponents want.
And the bucket. Rose Mishaw, have yourself a night.
That was just a tough bucket down inside and a really hard call. Rose Mishaw right there is going to be a recipient of a great pass by Eck. She takes the hit and keeps going. So you got to help the helper. If someone goes to help, then someone's got to be back to get Rose Mishaw under control, and that has been easier said than done in this game. She has been activated in every aspect.
So Brooke Dimitri picks up 3. Kennedy Ume just picking up her second. Some trouble in the foul department for the front court for Stanford. You get chills thinking about the tournament just around the corner, and the ACC will be represented in a lot of different ways. Yes, for the ACC tournament, but also postseason as well. And if you're looking at how they've been challenged, the net mentioned just how they've challenged themselves on the schedule.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, Virginia Tech 36, net, Stanford 38. I mean, both teams really need to ramp up their momentum headed into the ACC tournament and postseason play possibilities.
Out of the timeout, that's a good look at the rim. This one going down for Tess Heel.
She came in and stayed aggressive. First points of the game for her. And Kate Pay said they need everybody, especially without Nunu's presence on the interior. It's everyone collectively have to attack and finish.
Stevenson comes down with the rebound for Stanford. As we mentioned, just how they got to this point, they broke a 3-game skid by winning the last 2 games. That was back at home against Syracuse and Boston College. Right now in that 11th spot in the ACC standings.
Look at Clardy right here. Oh, Rose Mishaw. We were talking about her screening ability. There was no foul called on that play, but boy, your teammates got to call the screens. See if your teammates chicklets. You're like, that hurt. She has to go out of the game.
Yeah, right now on the bench, still sitting at the front, had a little conversation with the training staff at the end of the bench.
She needs to have a conversation with her teammates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, man, especially the way Rose Mishaw sets those screens, and it's not in a malicious way. She's setting them properly. But if I see you get ready to get hit with the screen, I'm like, Angel, watch out.
There has to be communication.
And it's Rose Mishaw. Like,
that's like running into a brick wall.
Yeah, you got to communicate that. And it is loud in here, and I get it. But that's why your awareness has to be quick. People think speed is from baseline to baseline, the way, or how fast you can run, how quickly you could get from baseline to baseline. It's not just that, right? You have to be a quick thinker.
Shea Giwoye picks up her first personal foul. Virginia Tech able to get it on the side. Another deflection. So I think Clardy's quite all right. She's hit the deck a couple of times in this ball game. Tough as nails. 9 on the shot clock. Rose Mishaw again.
Oh, that was just a tremendous display. Getting her to a double-double in this game. Just sized up the defense to perfection in there. Wheeling and dealing for the deuce.
Rose Mishaw has been absolutely phenomenal as Stanford able to put some points on the board by Ogden. 11 points, 10 rebounds. I feel like it's been more than that. She had that 10th rebound earlier in this quarter.
Yeah, 9 of them in the first half. I mean, she's a worker. She has been on neon green in all ways in this game for the Hokies.
Now her 7th double-double on the season. Clardy tried to send it on the inside. That was hit off the leg. And that brings us to a break.
Now, Rose has been surgically dissecting the interior of Stanford's defense. Right here, holding her seal, reverse pivot, and get to the second side with the float with the lefty. Just smooth. And Ogden on the other side.
As a reminder, our next gymnastics meet is Sunday afternoon as number 16 Stanford squares off against Clemson at Little John Coliseum. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. And as chilly as it is on the outside, Rose Mishaw has been heating this place up. 7 double-doubles on the season, 16 in her career.
You know, when you see a Rose growing through the cement, that's exactly how she's been playing in this game. Just flat out tough. She has been a problem on the interior, on the glass, the whirling dervish of it all, and she has been magnificent. 4-6 from the floor for those 11 points. I already talked about her 10 big boards.
So Matilda Eck picks up the foul to send Ogden to the free throw line. Courtney Ogden and Chloe Clardy, the sophomores, have a combined 19 points, so they have 19 of Stanford's 32 points and counting. And just looking back over the last 8 games, the underclassmen for Stanford have combined for over 300 of their points. I got you.
Light flashed before my eyes for a second. No, but those sensational sophomores, to your point, Angel, they have been so consistent. And that is what Kate Pay was talking about. She said, you know, I saw them in December, and she said, when you saw us in December, we were a totally different team. We're just trying to get to know one another. We're in a new league, as you said in the first half. In the ACC, it's a new coach and all the new things. but now we've tried to gain some momentum in the last 3 weeks in particular with those two sophomores who have really blossomed in terms of their consistency and confidence, she said was a big word.
Especially for Chloe Clardy, we can't mention enough. We said she is a playmaker in the conductor because of the 12 assists that she had against Syracuse, 0 turnovers.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 games, only having 1 turnover.
Yeah, I mean, 16 assists with just 1 turnover over that stretch, and that's just remarkable. I mean, you think about taking care of your mom's purse, like you're not going to turn that over, right? And I think that's what we've seen from her.
So there was a bit of a clash underneath the basket. You thought there was going to be a foul against Rose Mishaw. Instead, Stanford gets it back. And of course, Chloe Clardy stepping up, as you mentioned, the sensational sophomore.
Oh, you love to see that. And those are those spray-out triples that Stanford wasn't knocking down in that first half.
Virginia Tech is on a 2-minute scoring drought, and Stanford just the opposite on a 7-0 run to bring this to a 2-possession game. So Virginia Tech had to call a timeout to see if they can cool off Stanford or at least find some type of counter for what they've been able to show in the last couple of minutes on a 7-0 run. They've knocked down a couple of triples where they did not do well from that department in the first half.
Yeah, just 2 of 12 prior to that last one. And, you know, Virginia Tech may have the lead, but they don't have the momentum. That, my friends, is Stanford.
How did Stevenson gather that one, laid it off the glass, and makes it a 2-point game with now 3 minutes to go in the third.
Virginia Tech crowd trying to come alive here, but yeah, she limboed that one in. She had her head back and everything and just flipped it in backwards.
Carly Winsel couldn't connect, just left. Stanford could tie it here with a bucket. Can take the lead with a 3. Backdoor. Didn't like the look, the triple in front of the bench and just out as the Hokies come out of the pack.
Just a little bit too much spin on that one.
A missed layup for the Hokies, and Virginia Tech, as they have continued on this scoring drought, have missed the last 5 buckets.
Yeah, but look at what Stanford has been able to do in the open floor. Oh my goodness, you have to have some serious hands. Great mitts on the catch there by White. And got that one to go.
Tess Hill at the rim, couldn't connect. Stevenson trying to find space, couldn't kiss it over the rim, and it'll go the other way. And the foul going against Stanford.
And that was Stevenson on that previous play as well, but they're trying to get her some more touches down into the paint.
So now Virginia Tech in the bonus, free throws the rest of the third quarter.
Checking in for your Hokies, number 11, Matilda Eck.
So Matilda Eck will check back in the ball game with 2 minutes to go in the third. Carly Winsel will take her seat, and free throws on the way for Kale Peterson. Knocks down the first, and our next All Access, the ACC Live premieres Monday night, featuring Notre Dame's women's basketball player Leotu King, Cal gymnast Maddie Williams, and NC State diver Ashton Zuber. You get unprecedented access into all the lives of coaches and student athletes. You definitely don't want to miss it right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app.
Still time to reset in the quarter court. They're going with the horn set with 2 players at the elbow extended.
Stanford has had multiple opportunities at the rim, have not been able to come down with points. The Euro step is good. Mackenzie Nelson drops that one in for her first bucket of the ball game.
We'd love to see it, just what Virginia Tech needed at this juncture.
Virginia Tech out of the timeout with some momentum. Stanford has missed their last now 4 attempts. 3-on-1, another Euro, this time the left. Cale Peterson adding on the points. That's horsepower.
I love it. Bench is activated as well, loving it.
Less than a minute to play here in the third. And this is a different pace that we've seen for Virginia Tech in this ball game.
But it's exactly what they wanted, right? Megan Duffy said we need to play quickly. We want to get downhill, especially in the open court. Great passes, pushing ahead, playing the pace that you want. The little Sierra two-step, bop, bop, got it to go. Bench was activated, energized. That's what makes this game fun.
Gary Ashley Stevenson and Courtney Ogden will take a seat for Stanford. Heel. Held up in the paint, looking for help. Still a lot of time on the shot clock. 9 left.
Oh.
Offensive foul. Clardy with the extension. And Mackenzie Nelson with big moments on both sides of the ball.
This, my friends, is how you take a charge. Get your body square with the offensive player. Clardy made contact with that arm bar and got that full extension. Just tremendous execution defensively on that one.
You know what I love about what she's able to do? She talked about in that North Carolina game, coming off of the bench, adding momentum, adding those moments where she can step up, do the little things, and she's done just that in this ball game.
So energizing moments.
Turnover for Virginia Tech. Shea at the rim gets fouled. So free throws on the way.
Those turnovers have really been an Achilles heel for Virginia Tech. And here's the foul right there. Just going up, broke the principle of verticality. You see that left arm right there, not straight up.
Gotta like the ability of Shea too at the rim, trying to draw that contact. Right now we got 6.3 on the game clock, and I think the officials are at the table making sure that that is the right time that we're being told.
There they are.
7.9. Put back on the clock as Rod Creech makes sure everything is set, and the first of 2 goes down for Shea. Cale Peterson picked up her third, so just something to keep your eye on. 2 players for Virginia Tech with 3. Ronnie White also with 3. And she connects on 2. Time to go to the distance. Here comes Mackenzie Nelson. Dishes it off. Wow!
Oh, man.
Like lightning, Mackenzie Nelson got an extra point on the board as Rose Mishaw continues to build on these points. What a game we've got here at the Castle as Virginia Tech trying to hold the court. The ACC's Committee for Racial and Social Justice, in conjunction with its member institutions, have identified February 13th through the 23rd as ACC Unity Week. And we welcome you to Blacksburg here at the Castle for the final 10 minutes of the ball game here, which has been so much fun. It's gone back and forth, a 7-point game that we have heading into the 4th. And this is how it's stacked up for Stanford. 0 for 5 to end the quarter, and Virginia Tech was pretty much perfect to close.
Yeah, absolutely on the offensive end, but you know, you said 10 minutes, right? Hey,
yes.
In 10 minutes, Stanford got 13 rebounds after the first 20 minutes, only corralling 9. So definitely a talking point, and things change.
You said that was going to be an area of emphasis for Stanford. The thing with that, with them being out-rebounded 23-9 in the first half, how can they get at least a little bit of momentum off of the rebounds that they were able to secure in the second half for second chance points?
Absolutely. And, you know, you saw the attention to detail change there. And I know rebounding is all percentages and how many shots are missed, etc. But there was a definite change in terms of their focus on the glass.
Clardy pulls up, knocks that one in. She's sitting at 14 points. Brooke Dimitri back in the ballgame for Stanford as well.
Just hard defense up the line and good rotation by Stanford. Better offense.
Carly Wenzel kisses that one off the glass. Wenzel now with 10. 3 players in double figures for Virginia Tech. Esch, Nishaw, and Wenzel now. Is Hill with the floater, couldn't connect. That one went out of bounds, and it'll go back to the Hokies.
It's almost like she thought she was going to get hit. She turned that corner and got that deep into the paint. But you just have to focus on your shot mechanics. You can't worry about if you're going to get hit or not. Or try to prepare yourself or move your body so you don't get hit. That shifted the shot.
Karis Baker checks in the ball game for Virginia Tech for Kel Peterson. Off the mark on that attempt. Stevenson able to track it down, and here comes Stanford.
Board work by Stanford once again. Just one shot that time for Virginia Tech. So now they can come down here and reorganize themselves. Get some screens set.
Virginia Tech has 9 assists on their 18 made field goals. As that one comes down to Rose Mishaw. The outside shot for Matilda Eck, just off the mark. Stanford shooting 35% from the field. As Stevenson right now, you think about the time she spent on the bench, how she gets that rhythm going again.
Yeah, no question about it. And I thought that was a great read right there on the slip. Off that screen and roll from the top. A little bump at the end, but you got to get low so you could take that bump and finish.
2-on-1 opportunity. Stanford just rolls that one in as Ogden kind of waited under the bucket like, you better go in.
That was so dramatic right there, man.
13 points now for Courtney Ogden. Still a 2-possession game. Rose Mishaw, wow. There's not much you can do when she puts the ball on the floor. Taking an extra beat, sometimes you just need a second.
As she should, straighten her crown, get up. Watch right here. She is going to get the ball. That reverse pivot has really been good. That right leg gets her the momentum that she needs to drive it home and smooch it off the window for that deuce. She's been a workhorse inside. Those 15 points, 12 big rebounds, 6 of 11. Angel from the floor. Just tremendously effective and efficient.
Better nights in the office for Brooke Dimitri, who is now on the bench with 4 fouls, 5 points, and 5 rebounds, as we mentioned in their previous game against BC, coming off where she led the team in points with 21. The team already without Nunu Agara.
Hopefully she's doing well. I'm sure she's watching, so hopefully she's in good spirits.
That's one way to knock it in. As Ghana able to knock that one down.
Yeah, stay aggressive. Get downhill, right? A little dribble handoff action right there. Got her some momentum. And Eck couldn't beat her to that spot and reached down to tag her on the arm.
You mentioned Agara out right now. Not with the team, did not travel with the team. Their leading scorer, rebounder, and shot blocker. This is a team with 3 final games. Trying to find ways to piece things together to stay in that top 15 for the ACC tournament. Mishandled at the top of the key. Virginia Tech trying to take care of the ball,
Oh,
and
they
a
made
lot
that
of contact.
Stanford foul number 20.
Giboye taking some time on the floor.
Yeah.
Had some contact with Matilda Eck at the head.
Oh my. Hope she's okay. Let's take a look at that last sequence. A lot of physical activity with that scrum, and yeah, forehead to forehead. And right there, just hustling for it in that contact. Hopefully both of them are okay. Just shake it off.
I think she's good.
She's
Shea
good.
gets the steal, looking for two. And a missed opportunity at the rim as the Hokies and Carly Wenzel able to get that off the glass, gets fouled, she'll get 2 free throws.
Yeah, Wenzel did a good job of creating that contact. She knew that she had an advantage because the defense wasn't in great position. And that's when you pounce, right? That's when you attack that hip and get right to the chest.
So Stevenson picks up her 3rd foul as 2 free throws on the way for Carly Wenzel. Knocks down the first of the pair. Well, coming up next, the Nothing But Net crew will break down the night in the ACC with highlights and analysis of every women's game and look ahead at the best matchups on the schedule for the weekend right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app.
That's a lot of buckets right there, I just saw.
My goodness.
Like Ivory, I love it.
A lot of hardware.
Yeah,
A lot of history.
a lot of respect.
A lot of respect. So Carly Wenzel on the other end commits the foul.
You know,
Picking up her first.
you know, Ivory Latta hit 14 threes in high school in a game.
That's it?
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, what, 15 or
Really?
18?
I thought it was, yeah, I kind of expected more actually out of Ivory.
Yeah.
Since she is the walking bucket of the ACC,
Walking
setting
bucket.
the standard.
Yeah.
You know what I loved about her as well was her and Kelly Grimmick at the ACC tournament last year had the 3-point contest.
Yes.
And I mean, once you see the eyes get big for
Oh,
Ivory, it's night-night.
That's right.
It's the synergy there
Yeah.
where everyone who has watched her lace them up before understands
Yep.
what's going on.
Arturo on the bench for Virginia Tech, one of the assistant coaches. She knows all about that. They were one of the best guards in the ACC during their time.
And another and one. Carly Wenzel put on the gas here in the 4th quarter.
Why not? Somebody's got to do it. Got the foot up on the gas, like you said, Angel. A little deceleration. And then downhill straight into that second line of defense. Got right into the body and somehow willed that basketball to the bottom of the net.
Mazgana picks up her 4th foul, so that has been an issue for Stanford throughout this ball game as Carly Wenzel couldn't complete the 3-point play, but she does have 14. Has shot 9 free throws in this game. Megan Duffy looking at the crowd like, where are you?
Yeah. Get some home court advantage here with some verbiage.
Trying to close things out, less than 6 minutes here in the 4th. Ogden didn't like the look on the inside to Ume, steps out. Clardy couldn't connect, and that's brought to an end by a Baker rebound. Wenzel sends it in to Rose Mishaw, who has felt everything and continues to fill it up.
Why not? That reverse pivot is so tight. She just rips that foot back and she's square.
Rose Mishaw with 17 points, 12 rebounds. And the take and the block. So they'll say count the bucket. I do believe there for Stanford. They are trading buckets here at the Castle with less than 5 to go. We've got a 7-point ball game and a good one on our Angel Gray alongside Christy Winter-Scott as Chloe Clardy will step up to the free throw line, and Stanford still with a lot of time left.
Both teams, they've done a good job of attacking the offensive glass. Stanford with 6 offensive rebounds and Virginia Tech with 7, but Stanford hasn't scored a second chance point yet. And Virginia Tech, they have 7 second chance points.
5-second violation for Virginia Tech that was not prepared for the pressure they saw from Stanford. The second time today we've seen that from the Hokies.
Yeah, to the chagrin of Megan Duffy. Just empty possessions. And still so much time left, a lot of meat on the bone, if you will, for Stanford to try to continue to carve back into this one, but then they gave it right back.
I was just about to mention the 17 turnovers for Virginia Tech, but the costly turnovers for Stanford on the other side as well. Still the full court pressure that we're seeing as Carly Wenzel.
A little 1-2-2, but Virginia Tech sent Rose all the way back, so it kind of loosened up the back line of that press to open that middle so that they could attack it as a relief point.
Mackenzie Nelson trying to work to get the ball back. Shea Ijiwoye, the pressure you're seeing from her, and they do cough it up. 18 turnovers for Virginia Tech. The block, actually a foul at the rim. So Chloe Clardy can pitch a tent at this point at the free throw line. More on the way for her.
Yeah, this was quite the sequence here. There's no foul right here. A lot of contact, both bodies on the deck, but no advantage gained by either team. And then right here in the open floor, Clardy getting a whistle on that shot, but it was called a block.
In and out for Chloe Clardy, who's shooting over 80% from the free throw line, but Stanford has struggled from the charity stripe in this game, just shooting 62%. Clardy's season high at 22. Today she has 18. Knocks down the second, and that pressure on the way for Stanford.
Yeah, they are all over it right here, trapping that first pass, trying to take the middle away and almost got it.
Ball back. As you mentioned, plenty of time, still a 2-possession game.
Absolutely. They like that elbow entry and trying to get some staggered screens off of it.
Karis Baker sends it on the side to Rose Mishaw. Wow.
That was just beautiful hoops right there.
19 beautiful points for Rose Mishaw. 12 rebounds to add.
Iverson action there by Stanford, coming off the double drag up top.
Is there a better time for Chloe Clardy to step up and to show out in this ball game?
And that's how she started the game. Clicking on all cylinders. She was 4-5 early in this game, but now she's pouring it on at the end when they need it the most.
Tying her season high at 22. The bounce and the bump as Carly Wenzel will get free throws after foul from Kennedy Ume.
Now watch this one. Rose Mishaw gets the entry pass from Baker and just goes away from the defense with the fader with the one leg up. And then Clardy with the corner pocket dribble that's on net. And I mean, this game has been a little disjointed, if you will, in terms of the momentum swings. But boy, when it swings, it's really been something to marvel at.
5-point game after that first free throw. Substitution at the table for Stanford, Brooke Dimitri, as we take a look at what's at stake. Second win away from home this season. As we mentioned, they're 1-9 at neutral sites. Just the win at Wake Forest for Stanford. Hokies really just trying to find their way to continue to move up. That bye on their mind for the ACC tournament.
Yeah, Virginia Tech sitting at the 9th spot right now, coming into this game in the ACC.
Also, Charlie Cream mentioning the importance of this game, said if they do drop it, they do not fall out of the field for the NCAA tournament, but a win certainly helps as Shea able to kick that off the glass.
Now can Stanford manufacture consecutive stops? Can you get 3 stops right here and 3 scores?
Less than 3 minutes to play here in the fourth. Baker blocked at the rim. It's all but showtime for Chloe Clardy when she has the rock. An opportunity at the rim, and Dimitri was met by Matilda Eck. And the bucket goes down for Courtney Ogden.
Courtney Ogden did a good job of moving well without the basketball into the open space. Saw a high, hard hedge by Rose Mishaw. Virginia Tech rotated slow out of it.
And a timeout for Megan Duffy as Stanford brings it to within 2. And Stanford has only led at the first bucket of this ball game. That was a quick 14 seconds. And they are hunting another bucket to see if they can push ahead in this one. Well, as we have a great game on our hands here at the Castle, we'll look at the ACC scoreboard, what's going on around the league. There's a couple of great games that we had our eye on. How about Florida State hit Duke and Louisville?
How about that?
Louisville takes that to the final, gets another win. That's 4 straight for Louisville. And how was that NC State Georgia Tech game not on the linear? It was a close one at half, but NC State, Westmore, those ladies are rolling.
Yes. And Jeff Walls, wow, you said it, 4 consecutive victories for Louisville, gaining the momentum we were speaking of, that one of these 2 teams is craving at the moment.
A big part of why the ACC, predicted by Charlie Cream, has 9 teams getting in. Louisville, a big part of that as well. They're predicting them to be a 7 seed.
A really young team for Jeff Walls, but they've been operating nicely as of late.
Virginia Tech going cold at the wrong time. Only 1 field goal over the last 3 minutes as we're under 2 minutes to play here in the fourth. A bucket here is big and is short. Carly Wenzel tried to get it up on the glass and nothing there. It almost looked like she lost her footing, and it'll go back to Stanford.
They're going to take a look at it just to make sure the possession is going to stay with what was called on the floor or not. And adjudicate that. It's a big call.
Rod Creech, Michael Murray, and Lauren
Reviewing for the out of bounds.
So as you mentioned, reviewing for the out of bounds for all to hear.
Let's take a look at it. I mean, several bodies hit the deck. We were looking at the basketball. It went between the legs of Dimitri right there, and then there were a couple extra taps of the basketball.
You gotta credit Dimitri too. Has been in and out of this ball game, has not really been able to contribute on the offensive side of things, but defensively, even with the 4 fouls, has tried to find ways to impact on that end. 4 blocks tonight.
Yeah, that's major. You know, you don't have Nunu's presence in there as your team's leading shot blocker, so she's picked up the slack in that regard. She scored out of the gates, but then we haven't really heard much from her on the offensive end. She's got a couple triples, well, 1 triple to go and then another bucket, but after that, you didn't really see much from her even attempting a lot of shots after that strong start she had.
I thought the 3 ball was gonna be something to look at for Stanford, especially after the last 2 games where they were so good shooting from deep. In those 2 wins, they shot 50% from the field and just under 50% from 3 as we go back to the actual shot that the officials are looking at. And
Oh
it's
my
real
goodness.
congested in there.
Everybody hit it.
Today I'm glad I'm not wearing the stripes.
Oh, look at the hand. The back of the hand hits it here. See if Baker got her knee on that.
It's a lot going on. Even that angle, I would say, at the top. Because it looks like the reach in, as you mentioned, for Baker.
I couldn't tell if it skimmed Baker's knee, but it looked like Clardy hit it last.
Now it is ruled to be Stanford's ball. It has to be conclusive too.
Yeah. Oh my, let's see. Hey, listen. Oh wait, that left hand, is that Baker's hand?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's... yes.
That's the issue
off
right
Baker.
there, and that's
her hand
yes,
there.
right there, where the ball is still in the air.
Those pink fingertips.
Dead giveaway, right here.
Yep, that's her right there. See her on her hip? That's her. That was off Baker. That's how we can tell it over here. That's why we're over here. Painting the picture for the public. But yeah, I think when they went into zoom in on that, that was definitely off of her left hand and a couple of her fingertips there.
And you can tell that's where it is going to come down to, is that last final frame. They've gone over that shot the last few times, right under the stanchion.
See, there's a lot of
Here,
right there,
bam,
boom, 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 off the leg.
a little bit of,
And then the hand, right there, she hit it. She hit it. I think those...
so it does seem like the officials have the ruling, and it will stay with Stanford.
After video review, the call stands.
Inconclusive. Although we thought it was off Baker's fingertips, but it was inconclusive, so they let the call on the floor stand.
But it would be. So
It
it was
would-
off of
it was.
Baker's fingertips, and Stanford does
They
get the
couldn't
ball back.
overrule it. Yep.
Exactly. So here we are, the final minutes of this ball game. They can tie here or go ahead, but a foul as Virginia Tech now puts Stanford at the free throw line and in the bonus.
Yeah, Courtney Ogden does a great job with her separation step back and got right into the body.
Free throws very vital for Stanford to close this game. Shooting at 64% on the day. And it doesn't look good for the first one. Courtney Ogden, 68% from the charity stripe this season. Here's a big one. Couldn't connect on the second. Huge free throws for Stanford, leaves 2 on the board. Still down by 2. Final minute. Wenzel able to get it to Baker.
And try to switch everything here, stay present in front of the basketball.
5 on the shot clock and a foul, they're saying.
Stanford foul number 6, Shea Ichiwoye.
So Shea Ichiwoye picks up her second foul, stops the clock, and will put Virginia Tech at the free throw line.
To line for Hokies number 0, Lonnie
I was
White,
trying to
shooting
see if
2.
that was something that Kate Pay wanted.
With so much time,
I don't know if she wanted that one or not. I think she wanted to play that straight up, but I couldn't really tell. She wasn't signaling for a foul to be.
yeah, there was 5 seconds on the shot clock. If you want a foul, you would assume that it would be at the beginning of
Before that, yeah.
that shot clock, as both free throws go down, and now we have a 2-possession game after those 2 made free
That's a full
throws.
timeout.
Stanford calls a timeout. It will be a full, and will be able to advance as well. Both teams in the bonus. 2 timeouts left for Virginia Tech. 2 timeouts for Stanford.
Yeah, and I think for Stanford right here, I don't think you need to go for a 3 right away. And maybe other people would differ with my opinion on that, but I think you have to go for the sure shot. And I think you have to get downhill. They've done a tremendous job of putting pressure on the paint and getting Virginia Tech in rotation and cross matches, and I think they need to continue with that. Now, if there were 20 seconds or 25 seconds, I may say go for a 3, but you have plenty of time
Yes.
here to get a quick score first,
Yes.
right? And then get something in the paint, and maybe you get fouled on that, and that could be your 3-point play, or get a quick 2 and then foul. And I think you can do that as something that's more productive and high percentage at this juncture. That's what I would go for.
And you got the timeouts in your back pocket as well. The thing is getting the ball in bounds. You don't want to blow 2 timeouts here.
Exactly. Well, you're going to double up your information in those huddles.
Yes.
So you know you don't have to burn that next time out.
So what's drawn up for the Cardinal? Looking for their 3rd consecutive win and their 2nd one on the road in ACC play.
I think it's coming to Clardy. Yep, here she is. Let's look at our high ball screen.
Here comes Clardy.
Yep.
Gets the edge and the bucket right on cue.
That was tough. That clock.
And a timeout actually before the ball was taken out of bounds. So they'll be able to advance it. And if there was any confusion of taking the ball out or dribbling or anything, they wouldn't have been able to advance it.
Oh, this was surgically executed by Stanford right there on the ATO, the after timeout. Clardy gets a full head of steam downhill and gets right to the rack and thought she got tagged on the arm. Said she may be able to get that 3-point play, and it looked like she was motioning that she got touched up there.
And I do believe she did. A new career high for Miss Chloe Clardy.
Yeah, but look at how much time is left. Look, that was a smart read by Stanford and Kate Pay and her staff to get that set up. It doesn't matter what the whiteboard says. You better go out and execute, set the right screens, make sure that DHO, that dribble handoff is on point and right in her hands and connect with her.
Very well done out of the timeout for Stanford. We'll see if the Hokies almost coughed it up and does. Stanford forces the turnover. Carly Winsel couldn't keep her hand on it. And a turnover with just a couple of ticks off the shot clock gives it back to Stanford, who will advance it off the timeout.
But one thing you don't want to do is throw into that coffin corner, right? Where you're dancing between the backcourt and the sideline as more barriers of defense for you, if you will. That's just a tough place to enter the pass. Oh, man. Look at this. You have 0 space to operate. Oh, my.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, boy. And that's why you can't, I mean, I know you don't want to burn your timeout there, and I don't think it was close to a 5-second call. I think you just send her back the other way. If I have the ball, like, go get away from here, I'm gonna give it to you with like inches to deal with in terms of space.
So Stanford back in the same situation as Chloe Clardy can build on her new career high.
Same play.
Same play at the rim and rolls it in. Ties this ball game, and Virginia Tech will call their final timeout to advance.
Clardy said, run that back. Run the same play, and I got you. And she actually did. That was just magnificently executed by the Stanford Cardinal. Look at little dribble, handoff. Clardy scoops this one in with the right hand on the left side because Baker was shadowing her with those long limbs, but it didn't matter. She smooths that one off the window and it snuggled home to tie this big game up. I mean, 63-0. That was such a major play, Angel. Listen, that was tough. And if it's not broke, you don't have to fix it. Run the same thing and take it straight to the rack.
Stanford is outscoring Virginia Tech 23-16 here in the 4th quarter. Chloe Clardy building on this career high. The super sophomore, the sensational sophomore, all of that. She has been absolutely phenomenal when the lights have been the brightest.
And she wants that. She wants all the smoke. She wants all the sauce, everything you want to give her. She understands the assignment of her role for this team this year. And she has stepped into that role magnificently. And she has been playing so tough. That's what Kate Pay has said. Jeanette Poland's been working with her. You know, the consummate pro with the WNBA in her ear, giving her that solid leadership.
Last year, she said she had more minutes that came in for defense. Now we're seeing her blossom into an absolute dog on the offensive end. Clardy has 14 points in this fourth. Virginia Tech 16. Can they build on it here? The final few seconds.
That lollipop pass almost went the other way.
Offensive foul. Carly Winsel extended that left arm.
She did. In the open floor.
We have to credit Shea Ijiwoye for what she has been on the defensive end in the second half.
She has been dogged with her defensive end. Look at her hand, just staying in the way, being pesky, and she's like, hey, you can't do that.
Stanford could win this ball game with the bucket here.
See if they run that same set.
Why not? Chloe Clardy, it's her time. She's working with 5. Has not led since the first bucket. Chloe off the glass and couldn't get it to go. So we got extra minutes here at the Castle.
Oh my, listen, they played better defense there, couldn't get the pass to that elbow to get that dribble handoff action that was successful on 2 possessions consecutively to tie this game up. So they set that screen right there at the elbow instead, and she tried to maneuver and get downhill with it. Had to take a tough shot at the buzzer.
Virginia Tech did not score the last 3:59 of that quarter of regulation, while Stanford finished off 23-16 in the fourth, and Chloe Clardy with 14 of them.
Well, Stanford's bench has been magnificent, a 21-5 advantage in terms of everybody getting on board to help sail this ship, and they have done it in a magnificent way. I mean, just solid defense, solid glass work in the second half.
How big is this moment?
Man,
The offensive foul by Carly Winsel gave the ball back to Stanford and just couldn't connect, just wide right for Chloe Clardy.
oh, she wanted that one.
But brought regulation to an end. But more time, we get an extra 5 here in Blacksburg.
It's the smile for me. Look at, they're having fun with it, right? It's like, it's a joy for them to be out here competing in this game. I mean, Virginia Tech had a stranglehold on this game early, and they have flipped the script in the second half, now pushing into the extra session of overtime. But we'll see if they can carry that momentum into this 5 minutes. We'll see if they can get downhill. But most importantly, we'll see if Virginia Tech can get back in rhythm offensively. Stanford took that away from them down the stretch in the fourth.
We are about even in all the stats as far as Virginia Tech. That was very dominant in that first half. Virginia Tech shooting 44% from the field. Stanford 41.
Iverson action again. A double screen there at the elbows. Kind of circle action with the other 2 guards on the foul line extended area.
Taking their time. Ogden pulling it back out, finding Clardy. Short shot clock, guarded by Winsel. The dive, Stevenson, the bucket. And they have the lead for the first time since the first quarter.
What's different about Stanford's offense is that they're playing more composed and poised, getting to the second side and getting what they want and taking the shots that they want, not the ones that Virginia Tech has forced them to take, like in the first half.
Team playing more connected, stepping up on the defensive end, and the challenge on the inside. The block, actually the foul on the inside. Karis Baker got her own rebound. Was able to put that off the glass. So the 5th foul will send Dimitri to the bench, which is a huge loss for Stanford on the inside. She did so many things well on the defensive end in this ball game.
Absolutely, and setting good screens as well. But this down inside with Baker is the second shot right there. She turned her body. And I tell you what, 90% of fouls happen exactly like that because you're out of position. The players are taking shots.
Knocks down the first of the pair. Here's Baker.
Yeah, her dad, Vin Baker, played in the NBA for a long time, and mom,
15 seasons.
Maura Rogers is her maiden name, but they both played at Hartford, met there, and understand the assignment.
Her brother, Vin Jr., played at BC in Milwaukee, so just being a boss and a baller just running through their veins, as well as Shea.
Oh my goodness. Oh, see, they faked that elevator action, which allowed the space for that drive to occur on that left side. Excellent execution by Stanford.
Contact on the screen, still Shea coming out of the pack, gets it up off the glass, and up 2 possessions now.
No timeout for Virginia Tech. They're going to settle in and try to see what they can get on the offensive side here. Horn set here.
1 timeout still left for Virginia Tech, 2 for Stanford. Matilda Eck has been quiet in this second half.
She was blistering hot in that first half, though. Kind of quieted that down.
Matilda Eck with 13. Mind you, she had 11 of the 16 in the first quarter.
Right.
To the line for the Hokies, number 1, Carly Wenzel.
She's got to hunt some touches, but give credit to Stanford for taking those easy touches away from Eck in the second half and into this overtime.
With 6 for 6 in the first half, it's 0 for 3 in the second. Other people have been able to step up in their own way. Mindful that Rose Mishaw has been a huge piece in the second half as well, as Carly Wenzel rolls that one in to make it a 3-point game. So Virginia Tech getting it done at the free throw line, have yet to make a field goal in the last 6 minutes of play though. Offensive foul by Ogden. Didn't wait on it, as you would say.
Gotta wait on it. Gotta wait on it, man. No.
Her first personal foul.
I like the action that was trying to unfold, but just a little too overzealous on that cut for that dribble handoff action up top.
Just,
tough one.
Just her first foul of the ball game. A rare thing for Stanford at this point, who's dealt with some foul trouble, as Matilda Eck might have heard us talking about that spell. And here we are, a 1-point game. Backdoor, Shea dishes it off in an offensive foul with who else? Matilda Eck in the right place to end that series for Stanford.
Yeah, great offensive play by Eck, and then right here, rotated over, got established, rolled up, and took the hit for the charge.
4th foul on Ijiwoye, excuse me.
Back cut, re-screen right here. Trying to get something downhill. Ooh, had Eck on that slip. Didn't find her with the basketball though.
Hokies looking to take the lead here. Carly Wenzel, hesitation at the rim, just missed it. And it will go the other way. You can see the frustration on her face wanting that one back.
She wanted it back so badly, man. But now what you can do with all that energy is sit in a stance down here and be disruptive and get it back that way. Like Megan Duffy's in a stance right there, clapping it up like, we need this. Stop.
Ghana took the screen, working to the left, and the scoop, nothing there. And a rebound goes down to Karis Baker. The dish, Rose Mishaw, over 3 bodies.
Oh my goodness.
Mishaw, a new season high. It was 20. Now sitting at 21, and they've needed every single one of them. Approaching the 1 minute mark. 6 on the shot clock, and the 3 ball by Chloe.
What is happening in this building? Right now, we're seeing the best of the best go at it. Competitive fire is burning bright for both teams right now.
29 points for Chloe Clardy.
Heater all game long.
Are you not entertained? The turnaround, the up and under, and the foul. As the seconds were waning on the shot clock, Karis Baker said, I'm getting to the free throw line.
Somehow, some way, you're going to tag me when I have this basketball in the paint. Look at Rose Michaud, come alive, why don't you? My goodness, blooming bright in traffic, in the scrum, in the mud down there, found the deuce. And then Clardy pays that triple off from the corner pocket for Stanford. I mean, big-time buckets. Big-time players make big-time buckets when necessary. I tell you what, and this has been a really fun game to watch because of that.
So the miss at the free throw line gives Stanford that 1-point edge as they have the timeout and advance it with 35 left on the game. Today.
Actually hilarious.
Well, if you're just joining us, we have extra time here at the Castle going into overtime after some heroics from Chloe Clardy, who has 29 points. Stanford looking for their second win in ACC play on the road. And for the Hokies, they've got a lot on their line as well. You can look at the turnovers, a huge piece.
Yeah.
21 for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, 21 turnovers for Virginia Tech. I mean, just a couple of miscues at the worst times, really. You have to understand the time and score. You have to understand discipline and what you can and cannot do, where you can and cannot throw the basketball. And when I say little things, I don't believe in little things because now they're magnified into huge things. Right? It's a possession battle, obviously, in this 1-point game. So you have to be wise, but you have to be composed and trust the work that you've put in to get to this game and execute.
This is a huge game for both teams, as we mentioned. Coming in, looking at the ACC standings, Virginia Tech sitting at 9 at that 500 mark in ACC play. Stanford 5-9 in conference play, 11th, and just a gentle reminder, the top 15 teams move on to Greensboro to see if they can get a title.
Yeah.
And anything can happen, especially in this league. That top 15 to punch their ticket as long as you get an opportunity to dance.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. You got to be in it to win it. So
You got to do a lot.
you got to fight to get in so you can try to win. So I think right now, you know, we're talking about turnovers and then the points off of turnovers. Stanford, they've been able to score 20 points off of those 21 miscues by Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And Virginia Tech on the other side, they have 14. They've forced 14 turnovers and 19 points off of those. So that's the difference in the game.
Also, it's been done by committee for Stanford. Their bench outscoring Virginia Tech 21-5. Able to get it inside is Chloe Clardy at the top of the key, guarded by Winsel, and a foul at the top of the key.
Had to do it. You want to go for the steal initially, but when you don't get it, you can't let too much time roll off that clock if you're Virginia Tech.
So now both teams in the bonus. Do you like the foul there?
I like that foul. I think it still gives you time to operate after the free throws and get a quality look.
Just out, so just needs a 2 very wisely did not dribble the ball and just called the timeout, the final one for Virginia Tech, so they can advance.
She squeezed all the air out of that basketball so she wouldn't dribble it or have it drop out of her hands. And snatched it up. So now they can make something happen, and that's why I thought it was a good foul.
Oh,
and
yes.
even had she made that free throw, I still would have agreed with that.
Well, you also look at Stanford and how they've struggled from the free throw line today, shooting just 12 for 21.
Yeah. Well, that's a ton of possessions right there, and that's what I like to call free throws. Those are possessions, right? And if you get there 21 times, you at least need to shoot 75%. When I was coaching, that's what I said. We must shoot 75%, especially in close games like this. Give yourselves a chance to get some leverage from the line.
Stanford comes in shooting just under 75% on the season as a team. And the same for Virginia Tech, right at 76. So as they call the timeout, advance, and they get it at half court. A 2 ties it, a 3 wins the ball game. They can hold for the last shot. They get it on the inside. Rose Mishaw lost the handle, and it goes the other way. Another costly turnover for Tech.
Oh boy, and that's what we were just discussing. Valuing possessions, and I thought they may go for a 3 right there.
Fixing the timing error.
With Eck.
So the time will be looked at for the officials. 13.6 on the game clock at this point. Now you have to foul.
Absolutely. And it has to be quickly, and you have to make sure you're going for the basketball.
So no timeouts left for Virginia Tech. There is 1 left for Stanford. Virginia Tech have struggled to take care of the ball today. Their season high 24 against Florida State. Right now they're sitting at 22.
I just think it's super tough, and I mean, it has to be, I mean, you have to go for the steal, number 1. Again, what I said on the previous possession. Go for the steal. If you don't get that immediately, you've got to go for the basketball on the foul.
So no timeouts. That was the final timeout for Stanford.
You see, she's coaching offense right there. I mean, I know that they're on defense, but you know how I said you have to stack possessions? You give it A, B, and C options there on both sides.
No one on the floor shoots more than 80% from the free throw line for Stanford. As Lonnie White will be retired from this game, picking up her 5th.
She had to take it.
Checking in number 30, Mackenzie Nelson.
Mackenzie Nelson will check in the ball game. No other player for Virginia Tech.
Checking the clock,
has
timing
over
error.
3 fouls. What a great game we have had here tonight.
It's been,
I mean, every second of it has been fantastic.
yeah, it's been so much fun to watch because, you know, the pace of play is something that both coaches wanted. But right now it's a 9-4 advantage in fast break points for Stanford. And I tell you what, that second half, you can tell that the tempo changed, right? Because of their defense, but also because of the fact that they got to the glass. Only 9 rebounds in that first half as a team for Stanford. 13 big boards in that 3rd quarter, and that changed the game.
We appreciate you watching ACC Women's Basketball presented by Ally. As Shea Ijuoye able to knock down the first free throw. She shot 47% from the free throw line coming into this ball game. This is a huge one. Bottom of the net.
Ice cold right there with those two.
Carly Winsel looking for help. They need points in a
Gotta take
hurry.
it, gotta
They
take it.
have to get something quick. Off the leg. And it rolls out of bounds. It will stay with the Hokies. 1.9 left. And you can sense it for Stanford that have made the trip across the country. Talked about what a battle it's been to get wins on the road. And this would be a huge one in a very tough environment to get.
Oh my goodness.
3-ball good for Matilda Eck. But not enough as we are closing this one out with Stanford winning by 1.
What a commitment to grit for this Stanford Cardinal team that trailed early on in this contest, never gave up, kept working hard. Two sensational sophomores, just a fantastic display of teamwork.
Stanford moves on to 500 on the season, and now on a 3-game winning streak. They'll see Virginia on Sunday. So for Chrissy Winter-Scott, I'm Angel Gray saying so long from the castle, where the final score is the advantage to Stanford by 1, 75-74.